You want another beer or not? She looked toward the door, as if she was hoping a rush of people would show and save her from having to talk to him. I'm Anders Sorenson. Jesus Christ. She grabbed his glass and plunged it in the warm, soapy water of the sink. Another summer crush? She looked back over her shoulder, and he nodded. She pulled another beer and set it in front of him. He wanted to grab her hand where it touched the cold pint glass and keep her here. He wanted to talk to her a little bit more, but she didn't even look at him. Someone waved her down at the end of the bar. Thunder Bay Cove was a hopping resort in late summer. He certainly wasn't the only person at the bar. 2 guys with mullets had been hanging out since before he'd come in. His family had always come up here in the fall, without him. He'd usually been at hockey camp or on a travel team, but he'd looked at pictures of them all. They'd seemed so happy. He came up here this summer for the first time to figure out if he could be happy without hockey, and this might be the best place to do it.
Dahlia, the guys who have been drinking since 9 are going to die.
The other waitress's words were laced with venom. He didn't doubt her proclamation about the fate of the guys drinking for 5 hours, and now he knew the barmaid's name, Dahlia. It was lovely, but didn't fit the hard-edged cool about her. Dahlia rounded the bar and gave him a look. Keep an eye on the mullet squad, handsome. If any of them try to pull their own beers, crush them under your hammer or something. He laughed. She thought he looked like Thor. He'd take it. He turned back to his beer and pretended not to notice the guys at the end of the bar getting louder. She wouldn't give you the time of day in high school, the one with the blonde mullet said. What makes you think you could get a piece of that now? The one with the red political baseball cap shoved the blonde one in the arm. You know how them freaky girls are. They just want to get it. Don't care much from who. Anders gripped his beer tighter and took a sip. It took a lot for him not to get up and hand both those guys' asses to them. That was a terrible idea, though. He might be a professional athlete, but his potential adversaries had heft. If one of them took out his knee, it would put a definite end to his career. A career he wasn't sure he wanted anymore, but did he want to lose it in a fistfight with a couple of loudmouthed drunks? The blonde one shrugged. You might be right. Dee's been down on her luck. Maybe it's bad enough that she'd suck your pencil dick. They both laughed, and Anders ground his teeth. These guys were nothing, and they shouldn't be talking about any woman that way. He clenched his fists and tapped at the bar. Your sister doesn't think it's a pencil. Thank God they'd moved on to sisters. Maybe they'd start talking about each other's moms soon and would keep their fat mouths shut about Dahlia. Yeah, but Dahlia Clarno's such a whore. No such luck. Depending on what the guy said next, he'd have to kick some ass. His fists clenched in anticipation, like he was in a game and one of his teammates just took a check and the refs refused to make a call. He'd love to feel the crunch of that motherfucker's nose under his jaw. It would cure him of a lot of frustration. Finish that fucking sentence. Dare you. Instead of finishing his sentence, Red Hat and the blonde laughed, and laughed, and laughed. They laughed as though calling Dahlia a whore was the funniest thing they'd ever thought of in their pathetic lives. He couldn't stop himself. Once they found out who'd hit them, neither would press charges. If they did, his agent could deal with it. Sam obviously didn't have to field any new deals now. Anders grabbed the blonde by the long hair at the back of his head. With a snap of his wrist, he smashed the guy's face into the bar. Red Hat looked at his friend in disbelief, which gave Anders enough time to wrap his hand around the guy's neck and back him up off his bar stool and bend him over against the bar. What the fuck? The blonde clutched at his face, but blood seeped through his fingers onto the bar. Yeah, what the fuck? Red Hat stopped talking when Anders tightened his fingers. Dahlia's not a whore. Anders didn't know that for a fact. For all he knew, she could actually be selling sex along with craft beer.